We have learned that friendships do not have to look like every other person's friendships. With you, what does showing up in this relationship, what does it mean, or what does it look like for you?
I've always said this. I can go through the same thing with you, but you'll experience it a bit differently. You'll see it a bit differently.
Sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard. I think we've had numerous times where CeCe's called me and she's absolutely broken and I have nothing to say, and so sometimes we just cry.
For some reason, especially when the disability is that apparent and very visible, you have people thinking you're not able to have a romantic life.
Went on a date with this guy, very tall, like look-wise, he looks amazing, German, tall. So went to an Asian place and I only had the meat, but the guy was talking about his cat the whole time. And I'm like, my friend's boyfriend kicked her out and she needs to come and stay at my house. And I pretty much, I did pay for my half of the, because I knew I wasn't going to see this guy. But yes, so, yeah, I did like pretty much paid.
Welcome to Daring Different, the podcast where we break barriers, challenge stereotypes, and dare to live boldly, especially in the face of adversity. I'm your host, Ciara, and today's episode is honestly so close to my heart. When I became disabled and was diagnosed with chronic illness, I thought I had lost so much. And truthfully, I had. But what I didn't expect was nobody would tell you this, is that sometimes in the rumble of what you lose, you discover treasures. For me, part of those treasures was friendship. Real, raw, resilient friendship. And today, I am joined by two amazing women who didn't just come into my life after my diagnosis, that came right on time and right in the storm. Please welcome to my left, Binnie, and of course to my right, none other than Evia, my yin to yang.
Hi.
Okay, ladies, are you guys good?
Yes, very excited.
Okay, very excited. How are you feeling, Binnie? Okay. So, what have we all learned about the invisible parts of this journey? And were there moments where you didn't know what to say or do to help that friend or even help yourself? And
I think when you said that, how people think, you're whole, kind of reminded me, and that invisible battle that you have. It reminded me of a time like in 2020 when I had the darkest days of my life, and to a point that I was like losing weight rapidly. I remember someone was like to me, "Oh, you couldn't even tell, like you're always so happy when you're at work like this." And then that click, it reminded me that I've read a study that said that the mind cannot distinguish between a fake and a real smile. And so from a young age, I was always smiling through my pain. And so that meant even at work, I was always putting, and that's when I changed. I was like, exactly how I feel. I'm obviously going to be appropriate about it, but that's what I'll do. But I'll make sure that it's known, so I won't be quiet about, like, if I'm not okay, I'm going to say, actually, I'm not feeling too well today. And that's when you said that, I was like, this is something that I've also went through and stuff. But so pretty much that's my experience. But
that's good. So it also like helps you navigate, I know, yourself and what you're capable of, and vocalizing that as well, which is very important. And we don't do that often as well. What about you?
I think with me particularly, like you said, with my job, I don't really get the luxury of telling people piss off, because what happens is when you're in a public space, then you got to attend events, you got to smile through it and everything. Even when you're having you know, you might be wrecked in absolute bone pains that morning, but you've got commitments to attend to. But one thing I have really learned sometimes it's hard, right? It's hard. I think we've had numerous times where CeCe's called me and she's absolutely broken and I have nothing to say. And then so sometimes we just, cry. We'll cry together and
we listen, we do not judge.
we listen, we don't judge. But we cry together. Yeah. But if there's one thing that I find myself often doing a lot because I can be quite sensitive in terms of understanding, I guess, where she's at or how she's feeling at that particular point. And oftentimes I try to put myself in her position, in her shoes, and try to look at the situation from her lenses. And oftentimes, once I'm in that position, I'm like, actually, it's not even the right time for me to say anything. So you know what? We're just going to sit in this feeling. And I think me having a chat with her and telling her it's okay, it's absolutely okay to sit in the feeling that you're feeling. It's healthy. It's absolutely fine. Sit and we'll all sit in it and we'll all feel it. You don't always have to have something to say, right? Especially when you don't know how to navigate the situation, you don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes silence speaks really loud and it's our biggest comforter. You don't always have to say anything.
See why I say the yin to my yang, because she just right into my next question, but it's okay. So another thing is we have learned that friendships do not have to look like every other person's friendships. Like, you know, the normal long nights out, spontaneous plans, even like daily chats. So sometimes even like I'm thinking of you, you know, or a message or just holding spaces to fix things that maybe are not fixable, you know. So what has showing up come to mean for you in our friendships? And do you have this worry sometimes that you feel like you're not giving enough or you're giving too much? Or just to pick back from what she said, sometimes like it's just like silence, really. So but with you, what does showing up in this relationship, what does it mean or what does it look like for you?
Yeah, for me, it's basically creating that safe place that when you're not okay, you can call me and let me know what you're going through. Knowing that I'm there to listen and there to basically try to understand. I guess basically with me, I've always said this, I can go through the same thing with you, but you would experience it a bit differently and you will see it a bit differently. So sometimes just listening and letting you explain exactly how you feel about it. But in terms of whether I feel like I'm doing too much, no. You know, I always explain to you, CeCe, I do want to come and see you. But, you know, between working, running around, picking up childcare, and coping late fees of like $1,000 and also having the energy to clean up and all that. But, you know, just checking in every now and then, messaging or, you know, sending you memes and stuff. It's like pretty much what I'm like.
This one, the day she discovered, right? She was sending me every musician or motivational speaker that had a disability.
Well, that was
she I was like, do you know I can consume other things? You know that, right? We don't only have to look alike and the same. I'm like, Binnie, I'll go to an artist and it'll be someone on their wheelchair. I'm like, Binnie, do you know I can consume Chris Brown as well? She's just, I understand, but I understand is because she was trying to motivate, you know, you can do this, you know, if you know, and sometimes some other people can take it wrong, but I understand her heart positioning and stuff.
Well, I was also trying to, I remember when you first spoke to me, you were like, well, you know, you don't know how the community would take it. I'm like, no. So I then knew like 3 other people on TikTok that basically are about embracing their journey. So I would like follow her, and then I went and messaged that girl, Ollie. And I was like, look, I have a friend, like she's gonna add you, and then, because I think that you are open about your journey, and you guys click quite well too.
No, we did not, because it was. Wait, we're now very cool. We're now very close. No,
Is this like the unfiltered podcast now?
Yeah, it has to be. That's the whole point of friendship. That's the whole this girl.
So, as Binnie was saying, we were talking about Binnie flooding my TikTok with everyone within the disability community, just to give you encouragement. But how do we balance love and grace in friendships? And just as she said, like just showing up. And for me, because sometimes in my relationships, I have this thing in my mind where I'm aware that it's not going to be balanced, if you know what I mean. I always say I'll always or mostly be in the receiving end. You understand? Like having relationships where one person is more of the receiver and the other person is more of the giver. And so if you do not understand that dynamic when you're coming and having friendships with someone who's dealing with something huge, maybe like trauma or chronic illness or disability, it's going to be hard if you're not able to balance that. And so always come into the relationship with grace. Like, don't take things personal, as you said. Like, for me, if you don't understand, like, there are days I have nothing to give. I literally have nothing to give. And it's not based on what you said earlier, that I'm lazy or I don't want to show up. I'm not in the capacity to even do that. And so with you, what do you think love and grace in relationships should look like?
I think for me, like, and I've said this to you before, I said when it comes to friendships, you have to be very intentional. And I always say grace comes with compassion. And it's not, and we've seen this not just in friendship, but just relationships in general, that it's not, sometimes the other person might not be, reciprocative that day. And it's okay, but you need to have the grace to still be intentional and be like, you know what, regardless, you're having a day, right? You're having a moment, and it's okay. So I'm going to choose today that I'm going to love you the hardest. Right. And I think it's having the grace to be able to be intentional and choose to just be very intentional in the way you love your friends.
Yes.
Right. So I think for me that's
regardless. And another thing is there's always something very sacred in friendships that hold spaces especially for friendships that both experience joy and experience pain. So my question to us here is, how has this friendship shaped us or you, our identity, our understanding of grace, or even in our own resilience? What have we as a collective or each other taught each other? And what have you seen in me that I might not see in myself? And what joy have we created even in the midst of the hard times that we face as friends?
So just on what you basically said before even knowing you, CeCe. I've read a book that said that it's better to actually be kind than nice, because kindness is doing good things to someone without expecting them to do the same.
Yes.
And from that day, I always say I'm not nice. I'm just like, I'll rather be kind. I love that. That's basically, again, the same thing, being intentional. So being aware of, like, you're not doing something because you want something, but you're doing it because you want to do it. And for me, it's also the values that I base on, like my belief and all that. But I do think that for my friendship, it basically what I've seen in you is, and I think everyone does, especially during that woman's period, that years, that it was about the fact that the way you carry yourself, you're not letting your situation, your disability define who you are. And, you know, it also meant like you're very good at your makeup and looking pretty. And you actually said that, like, you know, that's what you said, like, that's what they love, and it's not that away from you. So I'm amazed. I'm really bad at doing makeup. Like, I still have to teach you makeup the same way they give up. But, I guess what you don't see, and you probably should by now, is that you're a strong person. I remember I had a migraine, and I would even cry. Sorry, I was crying, and I called her the whole day. I was in bed. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Like, this is painful. She was telling me just how much pain she goes through every day. How it doesn't switch off, like the pain. The pain does not go away. And I'm like, I cried to her and I cried to my dad. And then after crying to her, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you ashamed of yourself?
Don't you fear God?
So I think if you haven't seen that, like, you're a strong Christian, you know, you have a strong faith in your religion as well. And that's guiding you, because otherwise sometimes you wouldn't have, like, if you didn't have what you believed in, you wouldn't want to get a last I did with my great. I still laugh at that story.
And for me, one thing I've learned with Binnie, being friends with Binnie as well, is Binnie is very optimistic. She's here singing all these praises, but I would not lie. Behind the scenes, when you are dealing with something, especially like a pain disorder, it is hard, very tough to be positive, because it all intertwines in your mental health. And so you have those moments where you're even second guessing why you're even in existence. And each time, one thing is, I might not talk to you every day, but you're that person. When I talk to you, I come back feeling okay. Like, you just have there's a lot of similarities between you and Evia. You guys are very upbeat. Well, for me, like one old lady, I have to find my groove before moving, and then I hang there, then I go back. Shoot. Yes, that is what I have really learned with her. And I always say, Binnie, you're like a white woman. There's one thing with Binnie, our friendship. Binnie don't know how to hold water. She says everything. When I first met her, she was like, "Hi, Binnie." You ask Binnie one question, she gives you her entire biography and everything. And you know, we with the African in us, I'm like, keep small, keep a little bit, you know. So but now with you, I am open. And just picking back on what you said with Oli when you introduced us, like, I was like, Binnie, I'm not that, you know, I'm not that person to just push. Like, no, I take my time. But that's why Oli was like, this is weird. Like, what? You know, she thought I would be very open. But that's what I'm saying with you now. You know, I'm like, okay, it's not gonna, I can still protect myself, but you know, it's good to meet new people. This one, she can be friends with a cockroach and a rat, and I have to find out which community the rat is from. You know, I need to diagnose that rat first. Oh God, with Evie. And for this one, I don't even need to talk about this one. This is just a fireball. She is always, her voice can be, she will call me at, it's like we work together. I'm like, do you know I don't sleep? And do you know it's that 9 to 5, we're not sharing it, you know? And her routine is my routine. She goes to work. If she's going at 7, I have to be up at 7. And then she's calling, hi. Her introduction, everyone kills me. I say, you just go to the opera and go and be singing there. I'm like, what? Whose voice is this in the morning? And so that's what I just love about Evie. Like, Evie is just, she's so just on. Because Evie sometimes, I'm like, are you tired? And I always take my diagnosis and put on her. Like, how I feel. And like, aren't you tired? Are you dizzy? And she's like, no. Am I right? I'm like, you went up to whoop whoop? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, jeez. And I'm like, Ciara, you know, Evia is not you, yeah? I'm like, yeah, this one, yeah. So, what have we taught you? And what's your experience?
I think, yeah, look, it's been a lot in this relationship. Like, look, I think if I can say this very openly, I think me and you from the get-go, the very big foundation of our relationship, I think a lot of people go, yeah, but you both are, you know, going through similar things. And I'm like, that's not even the foundation of our friendship.
That's not.
It's our faith, actually. It's our faith.
I love that.
It's, you know, me going to the hospital and visiting and then talking her ear off and making her laugh, even though under anesthesia. And then just going, well, I'm going to leave, so we're going to pray.
Yeah, no.
So
I remember that.
Yeah, it's both of us being in a position where it's like, well, you know what? Things are not looking the way they should be looking right now. So if we're trying to, you know, win some battles, we better put our knees down. And I understand there are some days where she's like, Evia, I don't feel like praying. Like, I don't have the motivation. And I'm always like, well, don't worry, girl. I got you, because you know what? I'm going to stand in the gap for you, and I'm going to intercede, and I'm going to pray on your behalf. But like she said, I think my routine has become her routine. Like,
Our routine.
early in the morning, I'm in the car driving, and I'm like, CeCe, oh yeah, are you awake?
Yeah.
The day has started. We're off on our way, and you know, and just during the day, I'm like, do you know what's strange though?
What?
So I think this week has been the only week where we've actually managed to survive and call each other using our direct phones.
I didn't even notice. It's always a FaceTime.
2 days we managed to do this, and well, we didn't last in both 2 days.
No, we did not.
So CeCe and we have this thing where I don't even know where it came from.
I don't.
I will call, like, it started off where I would call CeCe first thing, get up in the morning, and I'll be like making my way, figuring out what I'm wearing, and I'm like, dial CeCe, right? And I'm calling her. There's a couple of times where she didn't answer the phone on my 2 rings, and I'm like, what's happening? Is this the part where I'm like, Chike, what's going on? And then I kept on calling, and I tell you what, I've called her direct 3 times, no answer. I called WhatsApp 3 times, no answer. I video called both in FaceTime and WhatsApp, no answer. I moved to WhatsApp, to Instagram. And she answered, and she was like literally dead asleep. And I'm like, rise and shine. And she's like, whose ancestors, like, full on going on? And I'm like, but we always video call with each other. And I think it's just been that kind of thing. It's like, I have to see your face. Because I'm like, you can tell me all sorts of things on the phone, but I'm very good at reading your face. So I need to see what's going on. Like, and if I call her and she's like, yeah, I'm good. And you know, she's just, I'm like,
you yourself, she's good.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I also remember, like, we always talk every day. Then there was one day we did not talk because I got so busy. That routine, nobody has spoken to anybody that day. And I had sent her a text. I was like, thinking of you, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, that was this week, actually.
This week, yeah. I was like, thinking of you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, because she's the one who always remembers to call, you know. And sometimes, that's why I say sometimes you take your friends for granted. Yeah, because she's always, she initiates. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. My phone, no text back. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, half a day. I'm like, somebody has been kidnapped. She's in the hospital. There is a crisis. You know, and I called. She wasn't picking up. And I called another mutual friend. And I was like, hello. I don't call this guy usually. So, and the guy was so shocked. He was like, hi, CeCe.
I just went confused.
He was confused. I was like, I know that you spoke to Evia yesterday. I know, this is me giving the wrong shit. Sorry, the guy now knows that you can gossip. It's like, I know that he spoke to Evia yesterday. I did not speak to Evia, and I haven't spoken to her today. Can you let me know what's going on? Because I just text and I've had no reply. And he's like, yeah, but I haven't spoken to her yet. I was like, find out and text me immediately. And he's like, don't worry. Let me know when you get back to her. And so the person texts me. I was like, okay, I just spoke to her. No, before he texts me, she showed up. She had already called. And I was like, Madam, where have you been? What happened? Have you forgotten our routine? And she's like, hi, you can imagine. And she was just going, well, she had a busy day at work. It's election time, so she was busy. And so, yes.
Oh, yeah, that was just not too long ago.
Yeah, she won and stuff. And so we're very proud of the work she does, you know. Community champion, yes, future prime, yeah, we're speaking into existence.
Yes,
Yeah. I'm not coming for anyone's job.
Well, in another world, but well, in this one, nothing is. The future is bright for my friends. My friends are very. One thing I love about is all of us as friends, as a collective, our hearts are for community.
Yeah.
And so it's always very easy, you know, talking about things, especially things even out of what we relate on every corner.
Yeah.
We relate in philanthropy, humanity, justice, awareness, representation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any scope that we don't relate. And that's the beauty about our relationships. And I really, really love that we're able to share that. But another thing that I also wanted to really share about my relationship is the ability to be vulnerable. I think I've shared that, but I don't know in much depth how much more I have shared or really deep I've shared that I do struggle with depression when it comes to mental health. And Evia too has had that walk. You understand? And you've had something similar too. And so there are times where I am really, really down and I still have those struggles and fight mentally. And I remember one of the times where I always tell her that people don't know what it takes to be friends. It is not all glamorous. So people don't understand that the stewardship that comes in friendship. You understand? And I remember one of the lowest times is when I struggle with suicidal thoughts. And I called her really broken. There are two people in my friendship circle that I'm able to really piggyback on. One is male. He's not here. He likes to hide in the shadows like a magician. That's cheeky. We all know him. And then there's this one where when I'm at that place, I called her one time and I was crying and I was telling her like, I'm done. I don't know how to like feel. I understand. I'm in my moments really just broken and in pieces. And she really just like, you know what? Let's pray.
Yeah.
That was her answer. She didn't try to make me feel better. She didn't know. She just like, let me just be there for you. And we prayed. And I would not lie you, after that prayer, I felt so good.
Yeah.
It was like, if someone would have asked me if moments ago I was crazy, you know. So yeah, and those are the kind of things, like if you have a friend that you're not able to be yourself around, you understand, be that vulnerable, you should start questioning that friendship, like for real. And so yeah, and I really want to thank you for just, you know, being there. Yeah, you know, and I'm grateful. And even with friends, I always tell people, friendships, you know who is going to be your friend. And I could even identify that with Binnie as well. You would know who is good for you. You know how we always say, romanticize this day one. They are day ones in your life that you would know. I knew from the moment, the first day I spoke to this one, when she left my house, we prayed. The moment I spoke to you, it was all about love. It was all about making sure that I was okay. It was all about the protection. And so in this area, it's okay to also understand that in certain seasons, we're going to lose friends. Because I now have called this one and I've lost friends due to my disability, due to the fact that some will fall off because they just don't understand how to show up for you. And it's okay. You don't have to be punitive. You don't, it's just their own limitations, and that's what they're able to give. And knowing that you're going to also meet people who are able to give you much more, you get, and allowing that space to happen. So now, as we always talk, as girls, we gossip. We do gossip a lot, especially about dating. Yes, it's shifting gears. Yeah.
Can I just say it's called Christian gossip?
Which Christian? No matter what you put on it, it is gossip.
Women of Jerusalem gossip.
Say what you want. Gossip is gossip. So, and by the way, our other Binnie is Muslim. So you see, diversity is key.
Religious gossip.
Oh, no, it's religious.
Religious gossip.
Still goes back to the same thing.
Well, so I want you guys, because I get this question, especially between the two of us, people thinking like, if we're able to date, and mostly from the community we come from, for some reason, these men, they think we are not able to give birth.
That's a number one priority.
Yeah, right? Reproductive organs and stuff. That's where we come in. That's our role, right? So already, check us.
It is what it is.
Yes, we've fallen off the track for some reason. Because for some reason, especially when the disability is that apparent and very visible, you have people thinking you're not able to have a romantic life, or you have also some people thinking the romantic lifestyle favors you because you'll be pampered, honey, breakfast, whether you have got toes, whether you've got a toenail. Look, heartbreak will meet you in any religion, any race, any ability. There is heartbreak and, dating challenges all across the board. No one is safe on the streets. So I want you to tell me one of your worst dating experiences. For us will be related to who we are, to our conditions or whatever, and to you. What one of those ones that is like, this was too much.
As in going on dates? Or
Yes.
just going on date?
Your worst date experience.
Oh.
What did the guy do?
One.
So this was back in Sydney. I used to live in Sydney, and went on a date with this guy, very tall, like look-wise, he looks amazing, German, tall, green eyes.
Oh la la.
Yeah, and all of that. Until at the time I was doing a keto diet. I was into those things at the time. And then I was like, I'm on a keto diet. I can't have rice and carbs and stuff like that. It's like, okay. So went to an Asian place and I only had the meat. But the guy was talking about his cat the whole time. I swear, God, I was at that point where I was like, oh, what the hell's going on? So I messaged my friend, please call me. She wow, my friend. I think, anyway, when I was in high school, we had to learn to text under the chair because you're not allowed to have phone. So I had to do that. My friend called, I went outside, I'm like, oh my God, I'm on the worst date ever. I need to say that I'm coming to save you. And that was it. So I'm like, keep messaging me stressful, And so my phone was buzzing and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I have to go. And I'm like, my friend's boyfriend kicked her out and she needs to come and stay at my house. And I pretty much, I did pay for my half of the meal because I knew I wasn't going to see this guy ever again. But yes, I did pretty much paid what I ate.
At least you paid. Some
I
people
always
would
do that. If I know that I don't like you, I'll pay for my date.
Oh,
Yeah.
very thoughtful. I don't think anybody does that. Most people would not do that.
No, I've known quite a few men that do. I've been on dates with them. They actually do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
because I know
They
I'm not going
pay.
to see you again. Well, yeah, the ones that I like, I'll let you pay. Even up to like this fifth, seventh date, I'll just let you pay.
Oh, okay.
Men.
Yeah.
Take
If I
charge.
don't like you, if I pay, know that I'm never going to see you again.
So long. Bye bye. For me, yeah. My goodness. Yeah. I don't even like to think about it. I've got.
You don't need to think far because even me myself, I'm actually thinking of one for you even.
There's this one. Wait.
Trauma bonding.
Another one. Jesus, I will pull your wig off. That one was. I dated someone out of because they were going through another chronic illness.
Be very honest on this couch.
No. You know, there was one. That's not even the one I was thinking about. The one I was thinking about was different. But let me see. The one she is trying to cast me out and bring in the open is because I had not dated. We can't say dating.
You weren't even in a situation. Let me say you were in a friendship. Friendship. Getting to know.
Yes, getting to know each other because the person was going through a chronic illness. And I was like, this is because well, they get it. They get what I'm going through.
I get it. I get why you did
Get
that.
it. And she's just like, babe, that is trauma bonding. You guys are just trauma. Who is gonna help who at this point? I was like, no, but they get the pain, they get the absenting, and just to realize that the person's character was not matching. Like disability and chronic illness is not excused for a bad character or a flawed character. Like that was a character problem. But then the one I was thinking is okay, there's this guy during the talking stage, yeah. My friends, you know, I couldn't like go. Some restaurants, most restaurants are not accessible. So I used to do like dinner at home with those I feel safe. And so, this is dinner at home because the person has been at home a few times. So I was like, okay, then my friends will come help me cook and set up the whole place. And this guy came after we had a good chat and we ate. Can you imagine? He got up. And I was literally just walking. I was looking at what he was doing. And he did not take his plate. No, he took his plate, but he did not wash it. And I just asked him to leave. Like, no, he did not wash his plate. Like,
You know, when you were saying that, what came to my mind?
well,
There was a TikTok that's a video that's trending. I don't know if you guys see it. So with this African American girl that's married to this Nigerian
woman said, you need to take my plate.
Yeah,
You need
and
to
asked the mom, and the mother's like, in Nigeria,
Yeah, you need to take my culture.
Anyway, that made me laugh because I'm laughing, thinking.
No, you know, someone will be like, CeCe, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious because look,
Yeah.
cooking and you understand with the fatigue and I didn't have the capacity to do that. And then
It's just being polite.
you know, it was just disrespectful
Yeah.
to me, to what my experience is.
Yeah.
So are you saying like I should come clean after you in that moment? How am I going to do that?
Yeah.
You understand? So for me, that was
Being
already,
insensitive
that
of
was
your
very
situation.
insensitive.
Yeah.
You know, like for me, already positions like you're not going to go far. You get what I'm saying? Because one, you're going to miss the details. You're not going to be considerate of who my limitations and the reality of dating or incorporating somebody such as myself. You know? So that was the one. The guy had to go. So, yep.
You gotta go.
Over to you.
Gotta go.
Gotta go. I've had a few horrendous dates. I think if there's like one that sort of sticks out to me, I went on a date with this man. I'm still. I think it's safe to say I'm still recovering from. I'm still recovering. You might need a bit of extra help. I went on a date with him. Like, look, the conversation was great, right? When we're just talking. He took the initiative and picked out a restaurant. Lovely, great. Yeah. Got there. The man is looking fine. Like, he is 10 out of 10. We're like, girl, you scored. Lie. I'm not too soon. Because I beg, tell me why this man opened his mouth to talk.
Don't tell me stinks.
No. Oh, honey, that would have been, that I would have said something.
That would have been better. Yeah?
That would have been better. I could have said something. This man just talked. You know those guys that are so like up themselves and they want to mansplain women without realizing. Like, this man sat on that date, I kid you not, talking about what he does for work and, like, how he's in the top on his firm and yada da 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 da. Finished talking and everything, and obviously your girl was like, I'm going to let you talk, right? You want to talk. Yeah. So I let him talk, and then finally it's like he was polite enough and was like, yeah, so what do you do for work?
After 1 hour.
Yeah, and literally an hour later. So then I obviously told him what I do for work. I kid you not, his face just went.
He could have.
How did you get into that?
Oh, wow.
And so that's the time I sort of I raised my hands and I was like, waiter, can I please have the check? Yeah. I kid you not, I paid for that check for that bill in front of him, and I was like, it was really lovely meeting you. However, you're just not the man for me.
Yeah.
I will not sit here and tolerate a man to mansplain me.
Yeah.
So good luck with your next date. And toodaloo. And I left. Until today, I don't know what it is. That man, when he finds any given opportunity, he's like, hey, Evia, how are you going? And I'm like, once a fire burns you once, you not touch the sultan with bare hands again.
The question,
how did you get in there? And I realized,
what is embedded in like,
is it because I'm a woman of color?
Background,
Do I not like? Yeah.
And then I realized it's a power play thing. It's like, okay, well, if you're in that, industry, then you've got one up me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't even want to be with someone like you. So toodaloo, out you get. So
good.
No.
But do you guys,
selfishness.
Do you reckon, Evie, that dating with a disability or with a chronic illness, do you think it's more challenging? What do you think?
It is challenging. And boy, it is challenging because I'm a person who loves to be open. So when I
asked her a question. Yeah, I asked her a question on the first day. I'm like, when do you disclose? Because my social media, I used to do just selfies. And the inbox and influx, they were like, pam, 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 pam. The time I posted a full picture, my following dropped. Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah. Social media will do that to you. My following in one week, unfollow. Yeah. Algorithm, it drops. Even with women, not only men. It dropped. And then I remember I was in a conversation with her, and I said, when do you disclose on a date? When is it okay to disclose, what you're dealing with? Because sometimes it's invisible. The disabilities and chronic illness naturally is invisible most often. So when do you disclose it? This was it straight away. Was it straight away? No. Like, I need to know if you're going to be here for me to disclose. I don't know, but explain your reasoning behind that.
I get it, though. You don't want to waste your time.
My theory is this. I don't want to waste my time. But also, I also don't want to subject somebody's son into them feeling like, oh my God, she hid something from me. Because I've been in similar situations in the past where it's like, I'm like, oh, no, it's fine. I will disclose that, when I'm ready, or like when the relationship, or when it gets into a relationship or whatever. But then I realized, hang on a minute, that's me feeling really comfortable with doing things on my terms. But hang on, let me think about the man for a minute, right? Let me think about his point of view. I look very healthy, and I am healthy, right? As long as I continue to follow my doctor's order. Yeah. So I went on one particular date, and I had to explain to CeCe, it's not like I sit them and then tell them, hey, look, I've got, kidney disease, right? No, I put it to them in a scenario. And I did this particular time. I went, now it's a really good friend of mine. We won't name drop, but I went on a coffee catch up with this person, with this guy. And we were vibing, right? We're vibing, feeling each other. Everything's good. And then I just wanted to understand, I guess, sort of his perspective. So I gave a scenario, and I was like, and I think my first initial thing was I actually gave him an actual disability, like one that you actually see, right? He gave me some flimsy excuse. So I was like, okay, let me actually say something else, right? So I was like, how would you feel if the girl that you were really interested in, or you were really into, and you're feeling her, you're vibing her and everything, turns out that, she's got a chronic disease, right? Chronic illness. What would you do? I kid you not, this man turned around and said, I would just not progress anything further. I'd just say, let's be friends. And, I would support them as a friend, and yada, da, 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 da. So I kid you not, I then decided, I was like, well, interesting you say that, because I have a chronic illness, kidney disease. It's like, no way. Then they try to change their tone and their scenarios. So I think from that, I said to CeCe, and I said, no, I don't want to waste any guy's time, but also I don't want to put them in a position where later on in the relationship, they'll feel like I hid something from them. I'm a very honest person, and I value honesty and loyalty in a relationship. So if that's what my value is, and that's what I'm expecting, then I cannot be hypocritical and not provide that to that man at the beginning of the relationship.
Yeah.
So, and it goes with the saying of, I always say, at one upon a time in my early years, I was engaged, right? So it's like proceeding into relationships, I'm like, hey, giving you a heads up. I've been engaged before, right? Yeah. And this is my story. Like, this is me at the end of the day. Accept it, take it, don't take it. It's me. But I ultimately laid out on the table for you, and you pick. Do you want to be part of the journey or not? If you are not strong enough to be part of the journey, great. I respect you for being honest enough and being a man enough and mature enough and respecting me as a woman enough to tell it to my face and say, hey, I really value our friendship, but I just don't think in this space and time I've got the mental capacity or the space in my heart to be able to, walk on this journey with you. Happy to do it as a friend. I tell you what, if a man does that, I would respect you like this.
Yes, I do agree. Because for me, mine is visible now. But before the early diagnosis and before everything was going that, it was invisible. But so that played differently. But with me, just from the go, you can see it now. But my take would be like, it's just the weirdest out there. I used to be angry because I remember like somebody, I was like, can you have sex? I'm like, Mokwe. Father Lord. I was like, why would you, when you're looking at me?
Why would you
I
think
said,
that?
do you have a fetish? Do you want to have sex on the wheelchair? Just let me know. You understand? I can accommodate, But I used to be very taken aback and angry when those sexual questions come. But then when I used to talk to my therapist and counselor, she'd be like, just use these moments. You understand? People are naturally curious.
Yeah.
Yes. They need to know and have all that information before they're going into anything with you.
I think for me is seeing you and I had a big cry about it already. But is actually seeing CeCe in a space where she's comfortably and unapologetically taking up space in the open and talking and sharing her story. Because flashback a couple of months ago, my girl was locked in her room on the bed. Was her best friend, and but like me and mommy always say, the phone and the computer was her best friend.
My best friend.
So for me, it's seeing her thrive and actually being out. It's
If there's a question about the proudest moment, that will be the day that you actually posted about what you're going through. And that was the reason why I was sending you all those videos. It's for you to be like, you know what? It can be my journey. I am the core offer of my life. And I'm going to because God is the offer, basically. That's what I always say.
I really want to.
I was very proud of you, and I shared it, and I was showing my
She is
friends and
always
colleagues
sharing,
at work.
always sharing.
But yeah, I'm very proud of you.
And you know, one thing I said, the moment I decided to be my true self, representation of my true self online as well as behind the scenes, it has been like a dead weight off my shoulder.
That's so good.
You understand? Because people don't understand, like, even the journey with disability is so different for everyone. And then you put on top being a woman, on top being a black woman, on top being this community where people don't understand it or people get bored of it. Once you open your mouth, I am suffering from anxiety. Everybody's like, oh, child.
Oh yeah, remember that
They're
conversation about
I
therapy?
know, therapy. Oh, we always fight people on
Because
on TikTok.
Yeah.
You don't go in those spaces if you don't have heart.
Yeah.
So we advocate for mental health and stuff because our communities, they do not understand these things. And so even right now, you see people, when I post, you see like family members and say, is that not too much?
Really?
You know,
I'm so surprised. Sorry, I'm just
and they'll be like,
asking, really.
you know, when you're showing yourself too much like that, they'll keep attacking you. Like, it's like you get worse in illness or in sickness. So it's always that, let's hide you. There's something wrong. Let's hide, you know? And even like have someone who asks me, oh, I want to post about my sisters. Can you send me a selfie of yours? But the person was like, make sure that your wheelchair doesn't show. And I was like, oh, okay. That was recent, honey. That was recent. I cried about that too.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Like sometimes I'm also blinded by like certain things that like I've always been outspoken, so I didn't get those things in my head like that. Like it's bang, you know, I tip about my way. I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, you know, I'm not related to you, but one of the example was me going on holidays and leaving my son. You know, it's like, how can you do it? I'm like, are you happier? Now, the fact that you've been at home all the time taking care of your kids. So it's
that measuring who is worthy.
Throw it back. Like, I give it to you the way you did it.
I used to be like that, but
I beg you, run out of energy.
It run out of energy, especially when it's constant. You have to explain yourself constantly. One word to describe our bond. I would say orgasmic, heavenly. Yeah, because we're always like in the high.
I would say it is ordained.
Good. Love that. Woo! What do you admire most about each other? Strength, go-getter. Like, this is the person, what I want to do this, let's do it. Let's do it. What's in your CV? What's in your this? This is the plan. This is the road. This is the path. We are going through the wilderness and we appear in River Nile. She is that person, and I love that about her. You, positivity, directness, your white side. I really love that. Your white girl. Yep. She's my only white friend, people. I really love that she doesn't, her mouth doesn't hold water, because with her, with you, I know what's up. You understand? I know what time it is. It is 12 o'clock and that. So I love that. Patience, good. That's what I love about you. You go.
Your heart.
Yeah.
And I say this because I've watched time and time and time again, where, and I always tell you this, that why do I feel like sometimes people come to you to take? Yeah? They just come and take, but they don't give, and they don't take a moment. And she's got, her heart is sometimes, and I sometimes tell them, like, I just wish sometimes we could just dissect your heart and like grab a machine and just connect it so people can actually just see the purity of it and just the genuineness, how genuine it is, right? Towards everybody. You can literally insult this girl and she will still, if like you call her begging, this girl will still, and I'm like, hello, what's going on here? Because I'm the type of person, burn me once, I'm like, shut the door and I'm done with you. This one here, look, I have a lot of grace, but there's a limit to that grace. And sometimes I'm like, you know, like your heart is just, for me it's your heart.
And it's funny you said that, because I was going to interject.
No limit.
You said that, you know, being part of, like, you feel like your friendship is all about you being in the receiving end. I was going to correct you and be like, that's not true.
It's a lot of
taking. So it's basically when you said, I'm like, yep, I remember I was meant to indicate and tell you that. That's not the case. You do jib. We just feel like because you're not being able to, I don't know what do you mean by that, but you do give. And remember, friendship, giving and taking are different in different forms.
And I remember somebody left a comment in my video, one of my videos, when I it's about build resistance. It's like a motivational talk, like, I'll tell you how much I have suffered. No, it was Sunflower, my mini docu-series, guys. Patronize, go to YouTube and watch it. And I dive deep into the challenges of FND itself and the diagnosis and the limitations. And I say sometimes I feel like I want to conquer the world. I feel like I can cook, but then I remember I said, those are things I used to do and I don't feel like I can do it. And somebody really left a beautiful message, and she was like, who said you need legs to conquer the world?
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Love.
I'm telling you, the amount of support and love people show online to you is more than your own community. More than your own community. And
that, I think that goes back to, and you know what your therapist said, use that opportunity to get them to understand. Because what the community lacks of is actually awareness. And that's one of the areas that most funding in disability is actually in. But it's awareness. Use the opportunity to like educate them, and you know, and get them to be aware. Might not be in this generation, but our kids' generation will probably not have to face this because of
and our final thoughts for me. For you,
basically the same as what Evie said, but I also think that you are kind, you're strong, and beautiful, like completely. So your kindness, like I remember the generosity that you're talking about. You go on TikTok and this one is sending lions and all those things.
don't be casting out like that.
She's telling me, press the heart. I'm like, almost, your fingers don't tire.
I'm like, tap, because you always have to tap people's lives to support them and stuff like that. So, final thoughts for you.
In terms of?
As someone, what would you want someone who is going through chronic illness, what would you want them to know when it comes to friendship, community, and belonging?
I would say you are 100% deserving of true and genuine friendship that is full of love, and friends that are very intentional about you and about how they love on you. And I think for me, that's what it is.
Any final thoughts?
I honestly think that sometimes we should just stop focusing on the past of the things that you are able to do and focus on what you can do. I think also loving the life that you're living now. You don't, like, to me it's like not everyone has to be your friend. The ones that are your friends, appreciate that and know that they are deserving to be your friend. Like, it's not that, oh, I'm so lucky to have these people. They're also lucky to have you. In terms of belonging, I always say this, and even in terms of family, blood is not thicker than water.
That's true.
Like, the way I people talk about it, like, even as our community, we focus so much on this idea that we need to be loved by our families and those around us. That sometimes it's a complete stranger. Like, my closest friends are all from different parts of the world. And I think that's it. We shouldn't, if we don't fit in our own community, go find another one.
Yes.
Go create your own community.
That's right.
And so the whole belonging thing is an identity that you can create as well.
Now, that was it, guys. Thank you so much. This episode has honestly filled my heart. If there is one thing I have learned from you both today, is that friendship is not about fixing. It's about faithfulness, and not about perfection, but about your presence. So, ladies, thank you for joining me. And also, to anyone listening, you are not too much. Your diagnosis does not make you unlovable. And yes, there are people who will walk into your life and love you right where you are, with your flaws, with your fatigue, with your wheelchair, with your mood swings, with your depression, all of the 9 yards. And they will say, if you want a friend and if you want someone, I will be here for you. If you're the friend supporting someone with a chronic condition, thank you so much. You are the real MVPs. You are the champion. You are gold. Keep showing up and keep giving grace. And if this episode has moved you, share it with someone you love. Share it with someone going through the same thing. Share it with someone taking care or being in friendships with people that are living with disabilities and chronic illnesses. Leave us a review, subscribe, and connect with us on Instagram at Daring Different Podcast, and also join our community. We are here, we share our stories so that you can connect and know that there is a place for you to belong. So let's go together, this community just getting started. So until next episode, catch you and bye-bye.